Hi guys, Peter Finch here down at the Quest Golf Academy, and today we're going to be talking about how you can increase but also how you can find the best backswing length for you. This is something which you see a lot of players start to get slightly confused about on the driving range, almost start to try and push a little bit too much, and they end up tying themselves in knots. The first thing to remember is the backswing is a very, very important part of the swing, but it's not the be-all and end-all. With the backswing, you can get yourself set up into a much better position from which to start the transition into what really matters, and that is the downswing. But one thing you can't get away from is that the more you can turn, the bigger the arc that you can create on the way back in your backswing, that's going to allow you to generate a lot more power. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about what your ideal backswing length should be from a technical standpoint, and then some of the things that you need to be looking at to try and hopefully increase that backswing length if you want to. But then also how you can decrease and actually restrict the amount of turn in your backswing as well. So it's going to really focus in on this area. Now, first of all, what do you want to be looking at if you look at a tour player, you look at a very, very good player? What are some of the things that you will see in their backswing turn? Well, first of all, as they take the club back, you will see a nice wide takeaway. So the club stretches away from the body, the hands move away in a nice wide motion until about this point here where the club is pointing away from the target. The wrists are starting to hinge, or they could have already set by that point depending on what you think about wrist hinge and what feels right for you. But you've got that nice big wide takeaway. Now the arms are stretching away from the body here, and the shoulders are already beginning to turn quite a lot. Now from here, those shoulders will continue to turn, the wrists will continue to hinge until this left shoulder tucks down and underneath the chin. Now just notice here the first point that we're going to start talking about. Look what's happened to my hips. A lot of people, mainly because of the X Factor stretch swing theory, which was about a few years ago now, but it does persist to this point. When players see the Tour Pro swing, they see the shoulders turn, and they see their lower half, the pro's lower half, be very, very stable. Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, players like this, they can have very, very big backswing turns without moving their lower half much at all. But their lower half still does move. And if you look at regular Tour Pros who still hit the ball fantastically well, their hips in the backswing do turn by quite a long way. There is a big difference between lower half sway and lower half turn within the backswing. As an example, if you just get yourself out the chair if you're watching this, or off the couch if you're watching this, or at the driving range hopefully if you're watching this, and just get yourself in a position where you put a club across your chest like this, just hold it in like you're in your coffin, a bit morbid, but hold it in there, get into your posture position, knees nice and flexed in that tilted over position that you would be. And what I want you to do is turn your shoulders as much as you can without moving your hips or your lower half at all. Now just notice that I can't get past about 45 degrees of turn. I can even feel my right hip starting to move there. Now the thing is, what a lot of people will say is my lower half there is very, very stable, but it's not. I can't turn any more than this. So as I move through the ball, I'm going to have to try and generate a lot of downswing club head speed from not a full backswing turn. Now, you can work on your flexibility to the point where you don't move your hips much at all in the backswing. But there's no point in doing that. Hips are essential of turning in the backswing to allow you a nice full backswing position. It is as simple as that. So what you want to be doing is as you're turning away, and those arms move away from the ball, and those shoulders turn, you want to be feeling like that right hip is rotating out of the way as well. So it's rotating on its own axis out of the way. And at the top of the swing, shoulders rotating to about 90 degrees, and then those hips rotating to about half of that, around 40 to 45 degrees. So don't be afraid to rotate that right hip in the backswing. It will allow you to get a bigger backswing turn. It will also help mobilize the hips, so when you're moving through the ball, you can turn them and shift them towards a target a little bit easier. The only problem that comes with the hips is as you take it away, if that right hip begins to lift upwards, you need to maintain your posture. And that brings me on to the second part of this. How can you turn your hips? How can you turn fully whilst remaining stable? Now, the easiest way to do this, and quite a nice trick really to do this, it does start to feel quite nice after a while. It might feel a little bit strange to begin with. If you get yourself set up, and with your right knee, if you just feel like you're holding it inwards, so almost like you're kicking it inwards, obviously not that much, but just feel like you're holding it inwards. And then repeat that same motion that we've just spoken about. So turn away with the shoulders, turn away with the right hip, but keep the right knee exactly where it is. Now you can see here that I've turned my shoulders, I've turned my hip, but I've kept my right knee nice and stable. Now that doesn't allow me to shift my weight excessively off to the right. It doesn't allow me to sway off to the right-hand side. Now that is why you see the top pros, when they're swinging, oh God, they turn so much and their lower half is nice and still. It's just their knees, their feet, their lower half of the legs which stay nice and stable. The hips do rotate. And also when you get into that position, with that right knee in, the body turning, the right hip turning, but the knee stable, you can also get that nice spine tilt away from the target, which is going to allow you to get those hips moving through and firing through first down towards the target in the downswing. Now, if you are looking at combining those two together, it's quite a simple process in many respects. You're going to get set up. I always like to do this with lessons when they come in as well, because it is a simple combination of thoughts that you need to practice at the range. Obviously, when you get out to the course, hopefully this will all be embedded. But getting yourself set up, kicking the right knee in, turning away with the shoulders, and feeling like the right hip is turning away as well, and stretch it all the way up to the top of the swing, and then back down. And it gets into quite a nice flow when you get in those positions, because the right knee in, and then you're turning the hips and the shoulders. And this starts to come into backswing restriction as well, because if that right knee is held in, and you turn the hips and you turn the shoulders, if you turn the hips too much, that right knee will begin to straighten and you'll begin to feel it. So that combination of feelings should get you a bigger backswing turn with the rotation of the right hip. It should give you the stability in the low half by keeping that right knee in. And it will give you an indication that if you're turning the hips too far, if the right knee starts to straighten. Simple as that. He says, go away and work on that. And as always, please comment below. Let me know what you think. Please try, if you are struggling with a full backswing turn, if you do want a little bit more information, please comment below and I can do further videos on this. Right guys, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow me on my other social media platforms as well. And we will see you down here next time. All those links are in the description below.